Breakingnaws is rocking the NFL world right now as the Dallas Cowboys have pulled off what many are already calling one of the boldest and most aggressive moves in recent memory, officially acquiring safety Sidney Brown in a massive trade that instantly shifts them. Balance of power in the NFC, and this is the kind of move that tells you everything you need to know about where Dallas believes it is as a franchise at this very moment, because teams do not give up premium assets or make headline grabbing trades like this unless they truly believe their championship window is wide open. And make no mistake, this trade is not just about adding another name to the roster. It is about identity, urgency, and sending a loud message to the rest of the league that the Cowboys are done waiting and are ready to strike now. Because Sidney Brown is not just any defensive back, he is a tone-setting, high-energy, physical safety who plays the game with an edge, a player who thrives in big moments and brings a contagious intensity that can elevate an entire defense. And when you look at Dallas over the past few seasons, the talent has always been there, the star power has never been in question, but what has sometimes been missing is that extra layer of nastiness and fearlessness on the back end of the defense, the kind of player who doesn't just make the tackle but delivers a message with it, the kind of player quarterbacks have to account for before the snap. And that is exactly where Sidney Brown comes in, because his style of play is aggressive, instinctive, and fearless. He attacks the football, he closes space quickly, and he plays like every snap could be the one that swings the game. Which is why this move has Cowboys fans buzzing and rivals immediately reassessing what Dallas now looks like on paper and on the field. And from the Cowboys' perspective, this trade is about maximizing the present while trusting that the future will take care of itself. Because draft picks are valuable, yes, but proven young players with playoff and championship experience are even more valuable when your roster is already built to compete at the highest level. And Dallas clearly believes that adding Sidney Brown gives them something they didn't quite have before, a versatile safety who can play downhill, cover ground in the open field, contribute on special teams, and bring a winning mindset into a locker room that has been knocking on the door of a deep playoff run. And what makes his move even more fascinating is the context of the NFC itself, because the conference is loaded with talent but wide open at the same time, with no single team looking completely unbeatable, which means a move like this could be the difference between a divisional round exit and a legitimate Super Bowl push. And when you start imagining how Brown fits into this defense alongside elite talents like Micah Parsons, suddenly the Cowboys' defensive identity becomes far more intimidating because offenses now have to deal with pressure up front and physicality on the back end, which is a nightmare combination for any quarterback trying to operate comfortably. And while some will immediately debate whether the price was too high, whether Dallas gave up too much future capital, the truth is that windows in the NFL close faster than fans like to admit, and front offices that hesitate often end up watching other teams lift the trophy. And this trade feels like a front office refusing to let them happen, choosing action over caution, choosing impact over patience, and choosing to believe that Sidney Brown can be a difference maker right now, not 3 years from now. And on the other side of this deal, the Eagles' decision to move Brown is just as layered and complex, because this is not a move made out of weakness or panic, but rather one rooted in long-term strategy and confidence in their roster construction, as Philadelphia has consistently shown a willingness to move players at peak value in order to restock the cupboard with draft assets and maintain flexibility. And while losing a player like Brown is never easy, especially one with his upside and energy, the return gives the Eagles options, whether that means drafting future starters, packaging picks for another star, or reshaping their roster to stay competitive year after year. And that is the chess match element of the NFL that often gets overlooked, because trades are not just about today's headlines. They are out tomorrow's leverage, and Philly clearly believes that the picks they acquired will help them remain a contender in the long run, even if it stings in the short term. And yet, what makes this trade so juicy is that these two teams are not just any teams. They are rivals. They share a division. They see each other regularly, and that adds a layer of drama that fans live for, because now every Cowboys-Eagles matchup moving forward carries extra emotion, extra storylines, and extra intensity as Sidney Brown will line up against his former teammates, against coaches who know his tendencies, and against a fan base that once cheered for him. And those are the kinds of moments that define careers and seasons. And you already know that when those games roll around, the spotlight will be bright, the narratives will be loud, and every hit, every pass breakup, every reaction will be dissected and replayed endlessly. And from a pure football standpoint, Brown's presence allows Dallas to be more creative defensively because his versatility gives the coaching staff flexibility to disguise coverages, send pressure, and rotate personnel without sacrificing physicality, which is huge in a league where offenses are constantly evolving and exploiting mismatches. And when you add in his motor and competitiveness, you start to see why Dallas was willing to make this move, because culture matters, effort matters, and players who play with visible passion can change the energy of an entire unit. And that energy is something Dallas will be counting on when the season reaches its toughest moments, when injuries pile up, when the schedule gets brutal, and when mental toughness becomes just as important as physical talent. And beyond the X's and O's, this trade also represents a psychological shift because it tells the locker room that management believes in this group enough to invest heavily in it, and that kind of belief can be empowering for players. It can sharpen focus, raise expectations, and create a sense of urgency that pushes everyone to elevate their game. And for Sidney Brown himself, this move represents both opportunity and pressure, because stepping into a market like Dallas comes with massive expectations, constant media attention, and a fan base that demands results. But it also offers a platform, a chance to become a household name, to cement his reputation as one of the league's rising defensive stars, and to play meaningful football on the biggest stages. And players with his mentality often thrive in those environments, feeding off the noise rather than shrinking from it. And as fans across the league react, debate, celebrate, or criticize this move, one thing is undeniable. The Cowboys just made the NFL more interesting. They forced everyone to pay attention, and they reminded the league that they are not content with potential or moral victories. They want tangible results. They want postseason success, and they are willing to take risks to get that. And whether this trade ultimately ends with confetti falling or disappointment lingering, it will be remembered as a defining moment, a fork in the road where Dallas chose aggression over restraint, belief over doubt, and present ambition over future uncertainty. And now all that's left is to watch it unfold on the field, because trades like this are why fans love the NFL: the drama, the strategy, the rivalries, the what-ifs, and the promise that any single move can change everything. And as the season approaches and Sidney Brown puts on that Cowboys uniform for the first time, one thing is clear: the league has been put on notice. The Cowboys are swinging big, and the consequences of this massive deal will be felt for a long time to come.